Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Rini. I'm the new Executive Director at Prisoners Legal Services. I want to thank you for coming out on this rainy and disgusting night and just get one more jab in at the legislators who didn't make it. As a lifelong New Englander, I think it's a little bit suspicious when someone's turned off by rain in December, but that's just me. I'm going to echo some of Jeff's thanks from earlier. Thank you so much to Goodwin Procter, to all of our allies and colleagues who worked with us, Wilmer Hale and the ACLU and Hogan Lovells and all of the other firms that we've worked with. But I want to add an extra thank you tonight, first of all to Jordan, but to all of our clients and for all the resilience and strength that they've shown, because they have to be patient beyond measure for the work that we do. It might be hard work on our end, but I get to go home at night. And so I want to extend that thanks and that generosity to our clients for being both our partners in this and also being able to endure when I think a lot of other folks would not be able to. So yeah, that seems reasonable to that point. So I know I've had the chance to work with some of you here in this room, either already this year in my new capacity, or I've had the chance to work with you in some other role previously, either at BARC or another location, or for a number of you, I went to law school with you. But for those of you I haven't had the chance to meet so far, I'll give you a little bit of background on who I am and what my job is. As Jeff mentioned before, I spent the last 10 years at the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center, where my job was to create and run what we called the Incarcerated Survivor Support Program, which was a program, one of the first in its country, that supported survivors of sexual violence that were currently incarcerated. I took, over the course of those 10 years, probably about 1,000 hotline calls directly from folks who were affected by abuse or neglect or trauma, either directly from the correctional system because they were assaulted or raped by staff, or indirectly through malfeasance or negligence by not doing the things that they were supposed to do. It's pretty hard to do any kind of prisoner support work for any length of time and not want to sue DOC. But that fundamental anger at how folks were being treated was really one of the driving forces for why I decided to move over here to PLS. We're in a position to actually change things, to stop people from being abused or neglected or thrown away. After 10 years of supporting people who experienced those things but not being able to take the kind of action I wanted to see taken, I was ready to do more. And I'm excited to share with you all a little bit about what I'm hoping change will look like for us moving forward. I have two goals for my brief remarks tonight. The first is I want to celebrate with all of you some of the big wins we have had in 2025. We all know the correctional system is a behemoth. It fights change like the devil. It runs on an outmoded culture of punishment and dehumanization. Change is hard. It's oftentimes a Sisyphusian task to move things. So when we get wins, we need to celebrate them and recognize them because that's the fuel that keeps us all going. I also am going to call on all of you to recommit to this work, but Jordan had a way better frame for that, so I'm going to steal it with his blessing. Donating, I know fiscally is always helpful, but to recommit to our work here, to make sure that we're putting in the same hours and energy that our clients are putting on the other side of the walls. I'm going to call for us all to do that tonight as well. So what happened this year? 2025 was a pretty big year in a lot of ways, and I want to, again, echo Jeff's thanks here because of the incredible, amazing talent, dedication, commitment, and energy of my team. So I'll ask folks to give one more round of applause to the PLS staff for the work they do. There were a lot of different victories this year, and I'm not going to be able to name all of them. So this is just a quick highlight reel of some of the major things that we saw happen. Along with the ACLU, PLS was able to settle the Linsenmeyer case, which you're going to hear about in much more meaningful ways in just a moment from our other speaker this evening. But because of the settlement in that case, how the Hampden County Sheriff's Office is handling substance use disorders is going to drastically change. And folks there are going to be in a much better position next time, and there won't be the tragic circumstances and consequences that we saw in that case. We're also looking to take that settlement on the road to the Mass Sheriff's Association to show them what the floor looks like for appropriate and medically accurate substance use treatment so that that settlement goes beyond just the boundaries of those one set of defendants. We've also had a number of successes supporting clients in medical parole, as you heard from Jordan in just a moment. Pushing back against DOC's arbitrary and oftentimes capricious denials for people who desperately need to come home for treatment. No one should die behind bars when they represent no danger to everyone, and we've seen some success in getting that moving. Huge thanks to our team that's working on medical parole, that. And we settled our largest case in recent history, Diggs v. Michi, which you've heard a little bit about before. You'll hear it a little bit more throughout the evening. A multi-year battle for accountability after DOC's brutal crackdown at Sousa Baranowski right around the time of COVID. Aside from the record-breaking financial settlement, $6.75 million, which is the largest damages case we've ever taken, right? Which, by the way, provides real meaningful money to some of the folks in that case that will help them when they're getting home to move on. It also requires DOC to make big changes in its use of force rules, multiple commitments to change training, how canine units and chemicals are deployed. These are real changes to his policies that will have real impacts on folks in the future not experiencing that same type of violence. This case was enormous. A huge thanks to the team from Hogan Lovells who worked with us on this, and a huge thanks again to the plaintiffs in that case for the amount of energy and resilience and time you all put in on making that happen. Because you were willing to partner with us, we made change that will hopefully make sure no one is ever in that position ever again. These cases are just a few of the things that PLS has been pushing to make our correctional system more accountable. Just a quick fire of a couple of other things that are going on right now. We're suing the Essex County Sheriff's Office for inappropriate failure to treat hepatitis C. We're suing DOC for continuing to use segregated housing, even though the Criminal Justice Reform Act doesn't allow it. Our policy team is doing an amazing job putting together an ambitious legislative agenda to change how visitation works, conditions of confinement, medical and elder parole, and racial justice. And every day, we try to advocate for people inside who experience neglect or violence or trauma that, if it happened to someone outside the walls, would shock the public conscience. This is where I'm calling on all of you to recommit yourselves with me this year, or donate, as Jordan said before. And I love that phrase so much. I'm going to have to put in a plaque in our new office space. We're at an inflection point. 5 years post-COVID, with some of the lowest counts we've ever seen behind bars, but with the same or higher budgets for correctional agencies. That should have meant less brutality. It should have meant more ability for the correctional system to care for people appropriately, a more humane system. But that's not what we've seen. Just in the past 2 months, PLS has been working intensely with a collection of allies to try to get transparency and accountability for DOC for a spike in suicides and other unexpected deaths. We've seen 2 suicides at MCI Norfolk since September and 2 from Sousa since just October, plus several other unexpected deaths in that time as well. We're hearing that the same challenges that we've had for years are to blame for these deaths as well. A punitive system that dehumanizes people and creates the conditions for violence and brutality, mismanagement and misappropriation of staff resources that keep necessary care from the people who need it. A complete failure to understand the value of rehabilitation and education. It doesn't matter that the system is supervising 40% less people than it did just a couple of years ago. The correctional system will still neglect the folks in its custody because that's what it's designed to do. It's not a system designed to care for people. So we have to force it to. It's one of my priorities to help position PLS so that we are getting in front of the judges that the correctional system is actually afraid of. More often and more of the time. I'm working with my team on how we can operate more efficiently and how we can leverage more partnerships and tools to get more cases into court more often. But doing that takes time and people and resources. Your support is what lets us do that. Without it, we'd never be able to maintain the staff that we currently have or be in the places that we are. Thank you for your support so far, and I ask you to recommit for this coming year as well. I have real faith that we can get more cases of neglect, more arbitrary denials of medical parole in front of more judges with your assistance. That will make a whole lot of difference for the people we serve directly, for sure, but also impact the system as a whole. Maybe, if we're really lucky, we'll have a couple of exciting wins to celebrate next year when we all come back together. And if we're really lucky, maybe in 2 years' time, we don't have to have quite as many cases to celebrate anymore. Thank you all so much for being with us here tonight, despite the rain and the miserable weather. I'm very excited to meet all of you. So for those of you I haven't had the chance to say hello to so far tonight, please come up and find me. I'm pretty hard to miss. but it's my honor to ask David Milton, one of our senior attorneys, to come up and introduce our next speaker. So David, I'll have you come on up. Thanks so much, everyone.